Ooh. Hello everyone, my name is Ashley. Thank you for tuning in. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to this channel. So today I'm going to be doing what I did when I was around 19 stone 4 to obviously lose my weight, and it's the exercise I was actually doing at that time. And this video is it's pretty much a someone that I'm being talking to is basically doing the same video and what she's doing, what she did when she was around her weight, her highest weight. And I thought it would be a really, really good idea if I did the same, because we are two different people. And I think having 2 points of view or two different examples of what we did. And obviously, I'm going to link her channel down below. She knows who she is. I recommend going down there, checking her out, and seeing what the difference is. I'm not even going to see this video until it's out. So hopefully she does it today. If she does not do it today, that's fine. But let's get into it. So when I was at my highest weight, at 19 stone 4, I could not do nothing. At that time, I got hit by a car. I broke my fib and tib, and I basically struggled to move. This lasted for about a year, and it was all I was doing at this time. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't really trying to lose weight, but it happened. And all I was trying to do was walk. I was told by doctors that I may struggle to walk ever again, and I thought I did not want this. So every day I was forcing myself to move a little bit more, move here and there, and this is just due to my injury. And before the injury, I could have done that anyway. But because of that, over the year, I lost about a stone. And you're probably thinking, that's not much. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. At that time, I was not. So at my peak highest weight, at 19 stone 4, I lost about a stone because I couldn't really eat that much, couldn't go out as much, and I wasn't drinking as much. And basically, it just fell off by doing nothing. I wasn't doing anything extra. I was just trying to move. When I was able to move, it's about 18 stone 4. I said I lost a stone. I was 18 stone 4. Again, I couldn't do much. The leg injury was still there. So I obviously at this point I was my diet had changed. I was eating a little bit healthier. But the first thing I started doing, and this is exercise wise, was walking. And every day I would set a goal. I'll walk to that lamppost. And don't get me wrong, I had struggled to walk for a very long time, and so walking to a lamppost, I had my crutches and everything like that. It was a very big thing, and I did that. I walked to the lamppost, came back, perfect. The next day, I walked to a lamppost past it, and I kept increasing my walking distance. My food had decreased. I was on a calorie deficit, but I kept walking as much as I could. And I got to the point where 1 mile came out, then a mile and a half. I kept pushing myself. This is every day, and it got to the point that I was walking about 5 miles a day. And this lasted for quite a long time. I wasn't doing anything else other than that walk. And realistically, that's all you need to do. Even though if you're quite big and you're not really doing anything, you're just sitting at home, drinking some drinks, eating some food. And that's all you're really doing. That's your life. Get your steps in. Just say you start walking 1,000 steps, 2,000 steps, 3,000 steps, 4,000. You can start always increasing it. And so when I hit the couple mile steps, 5 miles, I started hitting my plateau. And I started losing a little bit more weight. My weight started coming down at a good rate because I was eating right. I was exercising more than I was doing before. And then I started to go to the gym. And again, my leg was damaged. So I spent, first time I went there, it was about an hour and a half. And I got motivated by Arnold. You know, he would exercise for about 3 to 5 hours a day. He would go to work for like 7 hours, come home, and he would do acting classes. And I was thinking, okay, this guy can do all that in one day. Why can't I push myself? So at first I was doing an hour and a half, and it wasn't like I was doing anything other than this. So I still do the walking. The walking stayed. You know, that amount of walking, it came out to about, it's there and back, I can't remember how many steps, but I stuck to a limit, or a lower limit. I had to do about 10,000 steps. Doesn't matter what I did, 10,000 steps had to be achieved every day. It doesn't mean like if I was ill, I still had to do the 10,000 steps. But when I started going to the gym, and this is about another stone, maybe 2 stone down, I couldn't do much. So I couldn't go on the treadmills, but I could do weights. So I jumped to the weights and I started to lift. So I was doing the bench press, and I'm not the strongest guy in the world, you know, but that's all I was doing. So I was doing bench presses, dumbbells, and barbell curls. I was doing all of that consistently, and I didn't really have a plan. I went to the gym and I watched people, and I was like, what are you doing? You know, I was like, I was watching the personal trainers, and I was like, I can't afford a personal trainer, but I can watch the personal trainer, seeing what they did, and I was basically copying them, and that's how I sort of processed. And I wanted to watch their form, and I guess what, my form is probably horrendous. I probably have the worst form in the world, but it doesn't really matter, not to me. You know, as long as I don't kill myself in the gym, I believe my form's pretty bad. But that's fine. You know, any exercise is better than no exercise. So even if you do really bad form, it's doing it. It's the main thing. And you can obviously sort your form out. You don't have to keep going. You don't have to lift massive weights. I do believe that you have to sort out your form before you go to over heavy. So you can have really bad form at the start, but it's no point going too heavy until you sort the form out. Then you can start going heavier. So I started lifting weights. I was doing like dumbbells, as I said, bench curls. I was working on my chest. So I like to say now, I like to say I've got a bit of a chest, but that's what I was working the majority of the time, because I did have the man boobs, and I was like, they're not going to go away. Might as well just define them. I worked on the chest first, and I didn't really work on the core, because I watched a lot of YouTube, and I was like, they don't work on the core as well. And they said it happens naturally, and that was fine. It's like, if it's going to happen naturally, I don't have to work on it. It's one less thing. Doesn't mean I neglect it. I sort of add some stuff in there to the core, but it's not like I'm going for like a full session for the core. There's not even like a 10-minute bit of training for the core, and that's about it. And obviously that was about it. I was obviously got the lateral pulldowns. That was so easy. I just had to stand and get the things. I get the bit of the rope grips, just put them down, get the deltoids. See, I'm not a PT. I don't even know half these muscles. I also obviously work on my forearm, triceps. Jesus, deltoids. Where are my delts? I was working on the triceps. So I wanted to get volume. So I didn't want it just big, just get volume. Again, I'm still okay, a skinnier guy, so I've got some muscle, less fat. So I was working on things, so it's the lateral pull downs to work the triceps. I just said it, triceps. And obviously I was pretty much getting everything. I want to get the shoulders in. And I basically had my apps, and I was going through my apps what I needed to do. Pardon me. And that was totally fine for me. You know, realistically, I actually found it a godsend doing that, and I really enjoyed doing that. And that happened for a long, long time. But what I did was every day, even though I was walking, I was hitting the gym, I was doing the weights, and my leg was still injured. every day I went onto the treadmill and I tried to walk. Because I found out like if I didn't try, how do I know when I can? You know, if I just said like, I can't do it, it's not going to happen, never going to happen. So I pushed myself every day to be able to run on the treadmill. That happened every time, and for quite a long time it did not happen. I started walking, it would be like, I don't know, it was so bad. I was like limping across, and I think I still limp a little bit sometimes now when I'm running, but it's fine. So yeah, that's pretty much all I did for a while. I was just doing that sort of the benches, bumped up, dumbbell curls, the lateral pulldowns. I didn't really go to anything else. I actually stayed with the majority of the time was free weights, because I realized that the machines had been very stationary. So I found that I would actually have more progression if I worked with the free weights a little bit. And so that's what I did. I stuck with the free weights a little bit more. It doesn't mean I didn't use the freestand machines, but I stuck to going for the free weights. So I believe that would help me a little bit better in the overall picture. And that's what I did. And for a long time, that worked. You know, I was losing weight, I was in the calorie deficit, and I was doing my walking. I kept everything up. And I didn't miss a day. And 1 hour and a half turned to 2 hours, 2 hours turned to 3 hours. And I was pushing myself, you know. If anything you take from this video, when I go into a room, I'll look around, yeah? And I have to outwork every person there. It doesn't matter if there could be so many gifted people out there, but if I can't be willing to outwork them, then what's the difference between me and someone else? You know, 99, it was, when I wanted to lose weight, I realized about 95% of people who are on a diet fail their diet, and only 5%, I could be wrong, but about 5% succeed on their diet. And out of that 5% who succeed on their diet, it's about 1% of that 5% who keep it off. Now, I wanted to go, okay, so I need to be out of the 100%, I need to be at 5%. Now that 5%, so out of the 5, out of the 100% of that needs to be the 1%. One person who keeps it off. So I was thinking, what is everyone else doing? What are they doing wrong? And what can I do different? And that's how I worked. I decided that I had to outwork everyone else in the room. So when I went to the gym with friends or with anyone, and they said to me, "Oh, Ash, I'm going for 2 hours," I was like, "I'm going for 3 hours. I'm gonna do 5 reps. I'm gonna do 7 reps. I'm gonna run mile and a half, 2 miles. I'm gonna run 4 miles. I'm gonna crawl 3 miles." I outworked everyone. I didn't care the pain. I didn't care the time. I believed that if I could not outwork anyone, where I'm gonna go right back and just gain the weight. So I decided to always outwork anyone. And guess what? There's gonna be people out there who outwork me, who be so much more fitter than me. But it doesn't mean I don't give 190% to push past them. You know, I could pull my face and I'll get back up to try again, and I'll keep trying. And it's that sort of mentality that you need. You need the way to push yourself forward. You need to be able to go, I can do this. I can push myself. I can be better than I am tomorrow. Always seek to be better. Never seek to be the same as anyone else. Seek to be better than anyone else. And that was my limit. That's how I kept pushing myself. And over time doing that sort of thing, I think I got around down 13 stone, maybe 14 stone. I lost an excessive amount of weight. I was really chuffed myself. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't really see the difference. You know, I didn't have a mirror at home. I did a size mirror like that. And it was like, when you check yourself out, you can see your face, and you're like, yeah, my face is good today. But you didn't see anything else, and I didn't see down below, and so I couldn't really see any of my progression realistically. So when when I actually got to see my progression, I was taking pictures just to see it. But I didn't really have that choice to see what I was improving myself. So I recommend, if you are going for it and you don't have a mirror, buy a mirror. Take pictures. Having that information, having that sight, because I didn't see any difference. I still felt fat at 14 stone. I still felt overweight at 14 stone because I didn't see it. I couldn't see what everyone else saw. People are like, you've lost so much weight, Ash. You've lost so much weight. I was like, where? I looked the same. And that's how it felt. It felt like I didn't lose any weight. I'm not sure about anyone else, but this is how I felt. At this time, it wasn't really much I could do. When the lockdowns happened and I was stuck at home, so I had myself a bench. So I was lifting at home. I was still walking. So I was doing, I upped my minimum walking to 15,000 steps. So it's the 15,000 that I had to do no matter what. If I had to go to work, come home, walk, I did that. If I felt ill, if I was throwing up, I have to walk. It didn't matter what I had to do. There was a minimum set of steps I had to do. And I didn't care if I had to walk around a circle of my house to get the 15,000 steps in. I did that. And that's what I did. So I had the bench, I did the steps, and I got myself a pull-up bar. And what I had the pull-up bar from day one. That stayed there for a while. And that's something that I always wanted to do pull-ups. And the pull-ups is something I did at home anyway. But I did something really extreme because, again, as I said, I wanted to outwork everyone else. So I said to myself, how can I outwork you? So I had this pull-up bar at home. There's this metal frame, and when I was heavier. So I said I was losing weight properly around 18 stone 4, and I bought myself, because I was doing pull-ups. Struggled. Don't get me wrong, I struggled to do weights, and when I was pulling myself up at the start, I was able to hold myself there, and that was about it. And I bought myself a weighted jacket. We get this massive jacket on, you put all the weights in, it's like, 50 kilos, 50 kilos, 50 kilos. Yeah, you put the massive jacket on. I put it on. And I took all the weights out. Took all the weights out. And when I put myself in the bar, couldn't lift myself, that's fine. When I lost a kilo of weight, I put the jacket on. I've got a kilo of weight, put the weight in the jacket. I went for the pull-up again. And consistently, I had no effect. I couldn't pull myself up. I struggled. I got a little bit higher up, but I still struggled. And I kept doing that. Every time, this is something I did on a daily basis. I was just doing some pull-ups. And I got to, as I said, 14 stone, doing the walks. The lockdown happened. And so I went from, because I obviously started at 18 stone 4, so I didn't get further up. So I went down to, as I said, 14 stone 4, so that would be about 4 stone. I don't know how many that is, like 7 kilos, 7 times 4, 7, 14, 28 kilos. Somewhere at 28 kilos, maybe 25 kilo jacket. And I was trying to do pull-ups. I did that consistently, and to the point I hit about 30 kilos. And one day I was like, I can't do it. I was able to get like maybe 3, that 30 kilo jacket on, try and pull myself up. And one day I was like, took the jacket off, ripped it off, and jumped in the bar. I hadn't done the thing, and I was like going up, down, up, down, up. I realised that push myself as much as I could gave me the strength and the endurance to do more than I needed to do. So I was able to lift myself consistently. And this is by just adding weights in a weighted jacket to pull me down, to make it harder for me. What I also did was had that jacket on, 30 kilos, so walking around, done my 15,000 steps with a massive weighted jacket on. Again, that made it even harder. It made it felt like I hadn't lost any weight, and I was like basically back to day one, walking. I was like holding across. It was a struggle, but I kept making it, and I kept losing even more weight doing that. I didn't do the walking with the weighted jacket until later on, but I did the lifts, and that worked for me. And this is very extreme. It's, again, as I said, I wanted to outwork anyone. I wanted to be above everyone I could, and that's what I did. I made sure that if you're doing a pull-up, I'm doing pull-ups or weights. If you're doing that, I'm doing that. I'll do like the press-ups with a weighted jacket on, and it goes, damn, that was heavy. It was on the floor. And that's the case. I pushed myself so damn hard. I consistently did that, and my calorie kept going down. I was in a calorie deficit, and it gets to the point where I get to a point now. Yeah, nothing really changed. Lockdown opened up. I got to go in the gym for a couple of weeks. I went back to my usual. I jumped around. I was inconsistent. So actually, no, that's wrong. I was consistent on what I did. It was basically random things. It was like pull-ups, bench, the thing, lateral pull-downs. I can't think what it's called then. Dumbbells, and I was pretty much focused on that. But I chose to do one thing, and because after the second lockdown, I chose to run. And I cried because I could run, and it was the first time that I was able to. Because obviously in the lockdown, I didn't have the treadmill. I tried to buy a treadmill, and you know what Amazon's like when you buy a treadmill from a dodgy seller at that time. You're spending £600, but you don't get your treadmill. What's that all about? Amazon? Amazon? Come on, sort yourself out. But that's what happened. I didn't have it. So when I got out of the lockdown, I realised that I lost so much weight. The pressure from my leg allowed me to run. So that's what I did. I ran. So I'd done everything I was doing before, all the same weights. I started to increase the weights. So I wasn't sure what my bench was. I'm sure I was like benching 110 pounds. Sorry, I didn't push it that far because there was I realised I was alone. So if anything went wrong, I didn't take that chance. There was no safeguards. And obviously with the lockdown, I didn't really want anyone, giving me mouth to mouth. So I stuck to something that I knew I could do. And there's like 3 to 4 reps in the tank. I was doing that fine. But with the dumbbells, I was like on the bench with the 2 dumbbells, I was able to hit about 30 kilos in both hands. And that's, I think at that point, it was about my max at the time. So what's 30 kilos? It's probably about 60, maybe 70, 75 pounds, maybe 80. I'm not sure what the pounds are, but 30 kilos in both hands. So 30 there, 30 there. So that's what I was doing for consistently a long time until the second lockdown ended. I started, and I was also doing my running. So I wouldn't run outside. I was just running treadmill. I would run. My max length was about an hour. I'd run about an hour, do the weights as usual, do the pull-ups as usual. Come home, do the pull-ups with the weights on. Do my minimum of 15,000 steps with the weighted jacket on. At that point, I was around 40 kilos in the jacket, and that was the max I could get. And I started doing that. Again, my weight was going down. But you can obviously see why it was going down. Calorie deficit, pushed myself so hard, doing above and beyond, going above and beyond. I was outworking everyone I could. But that's fine. Not everyone can do that. And doing something as simple as walking was going to help you. I got to the last lockdown, what we are now. My lowest weight hit around 9 stone 6. very light. I've actually gained a little bit more weight back, and this is basically muscle mass. Well, I hope it's muscle mass. Maybe it's a bit of water. I'm eating probably about 7, maybe 8 times a day, but I'm on like really low calorie foods now. I'm eating much better. I'm eating more regularly. So before I was eating once a day, but now it's more often. It's more often, and it's more enjoyable. I kind of really like it. I don't like the washing. That's the one thing I do not like. I like Greg's diet. I like all these foods choices, but I am washing up so much. I have like my little takeaway pots, and I just meal prep for the week. And I don't eat the week's meal in a couple of days time because I just like having 2 meals. And I'm a little bit hungry now, and it's just so much washing because I don't like washing. So I just leave all the washing to the next day. Next day happens. It doesn't happen, and I'll leave the next day, and it's like 4 days worth of washing. It's just me. Oh Jesus! And so next lockdowns happened. I still do the pull-ups. I'm still doing pretty much everything's the same. I'm not running as much. Since all the weight's going out of my body, my leg is actually hurting a little bit more, and it could be the cause of because I've got a metal rod going for the leg, and because there's not as much fat around it, my metal part is sort of sticking out, and it could be a cause that I might need to get removed. So the running for me is not a thing. So I've upped my walking to about 25,000 steps every day, but it doesn't mean I can give that a break once in a while, but I try and do that every day. I'm still doing the bench press, but I've sort of gone to more. I work on my chest, shoulders, and my back on day 1. Day 2, it's triceps, forearms, and what that is. And back, chest, shoulders, back, arms, things, legs. I don't know why I forgot the legs, and a bit of the core. So that's from day 2. So yeah, day 1 is chest. That's the thing. So on day 1, it's basically everything. I spent about an hour doing the bench. I spent about another hour. It's just getting the more like weights like that, just to get the shoulder bits in. I'm using my app, so I sort of set it as like 1 hour there, 1 hour here, 1 hour on the back, maybe a little bit less, depends on how I'm feeling. And on the next day, it's a bit of shoulder, arms, and it's a bit of everything. It's basically it's just me working on there. Then the next day, on the 3rd day, it's back to my chest, shoulders, back. So it's become more of a routine that I'm doing. Again, the steps. I am trying to run still, but it's not happening. I'm still obviously putting into like pull-ups and all that, and pull downs. But other than that, everything's pretty much similar or the same. I've stopped wearing the weighted vest because it really annoys me. If I really want to do it, I'll put it back on, but it really does chafe. I don't really want to, because you got like massive jacket on, you got like straps everywhere, and it's just like strap, and it's really chafy, and I don't like it. And I got to the point that I don't really need to lose weight anymore. I'm to the point where I jumped on checked my weight on the scales, and before it was like that, you're like 55-60% body fat. Now it's like, yeah, you're 4%. It's like, I don't think it's right, but it's like so low. So I think about maybe 12, maybe 14% body fat. I do have a bit of loose skin, so it's harder for me to tell, because I don't know what I'm doing, and it's hard to tell with a loose skin, but it's totally fine. This is what I think. I'm probably about 14, maybe 15%. The machine thing, it says 4%. My scales at home says about 11. I think they're wrong. I say about 15. always up, go up. So, and that's what I do now. I really hope this has given you some information. And again, it's not like I'm telling you what to do. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own thing they want to do. And guess what? You should do the things that make you happy. You should do the things that make it easy for you. So if you're overweight and you can only walk, damn it, just walk. If you can walk it and that you feel comfortable doing that, do it, because it's better than nothing. You're not going to win the race by doing nothing. So if that makes you feel happy and you're able to do something, just do that. I don't recommend anyone to overwork themselves. Like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do what I've done if I felt like I couldn't do it. And don't get me wrong, there's days I was on the ground crying, I couldn't do it, and I had to push myself. I was living alone and having not really many family around me. I was my motivation. I wanted to find the love of my life. I wanted to find someone that made me feel like manly side of me. But I realized that if I didn't take care of myself, who would want that? Who really wants the guy who just doesn't care? So I had to be the guy who really cared. I had to be the guy that really wanted something. So I improved myself for myself, but for someone else, I hoped to find someone. And I was my own self-motivation. You need to find something that motivates you. So if it's music, listen to the music. If it's listen to motivational speeches, listen to it. So that's what I did. I had to listen to self-motivational speeches every damn day. I was listening to Arnold every day. I woke up with Arnold in my ears. It's like, that's how I did it. That's how I motivated myself. So if you have something out there that motivates you, listen to them. If your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend is there and they're motivating you, listen to them. Keep them, because if they are motivating you to be better and doing something that you really want to do, then keep them around. If you have to listen to music, do it, because you can do it. So thank you for tuning in. Again, please subscribe to my channel, because I'm trying to do as much content as I can. At the moment, I'm away from work, so it's a little bit easier for me to do a bit of content as much as I can. And again, I work in care. I work long hours, and for me, if I can start doing my YouTube and getting some more content out and get more followers, it'll be really appreciated, because I really do want to talk to everyone out there. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through. I'd love to hear through your stories. I would love to hear through what you think of my channel, and I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to link the channel down below for the other person who's going to be doing the same sort of video. But again, everyone's story is different. What they did from the start to what they do now, it's going to be totally different. But guess what? Go and watch them, okay? Go and watch them. So thank you and have a great night.